For ages, the matter of UFOs has been primarily associated with conjecture, theories of conspiracy, and the realm of science fiction. But ever since the first UFO sighting nearly 400 years ago, reports of unidentified flying objects and encounters with the unknown have been ongoing. With all of the technology available to us nowadays, it's rare that anything goes undocumented, which is why the most recent UFO sightings, all having happened within the last few decades, are the most believable. Certain evidence points not toward the fact that extraterrestrial life exists, but rather to the fact that it's impossible to point to the fact that it doesn't exist. Evidence collected during all of these alleged UFO encounters points to the fact that there is simply too much reasonable doubt to say, definitively, that any one of them has been made up, fictionalized, or simply holds no water. Join us as we delve into the top 10 UFO sightings that have left investigators scratching their heads and ignited imaginations around the world. 1. Roswell Incident, 1947. In the annals of UFO lore, few incidents loom as large or as enigmatic as the Roswell Incident of 1947. Situated in the arid deserts of New Mexico, Roswell became synonymous with the unknown, sparking decades of speculation, conspiracy theories, and government secrecy. The story began in early July 1947, when rancher McBrazel stumbled upon debris scattered across his land approximately 30 miles north of Roswell. Describing the wreckage as unusual, Brazel contacted local authorities, who in turn notified the nearby Roswell Army Airfield. Colonel William Butch Blanchard, the base commander, dispatched Major Jesse Marcel and a team to investigate. Marcel, an experienced intelligence officer, arrived at the crash site and was confronted with a scene unlike any he had encountered before. The debris consisted of metallic fragments, strange beams, and a type of foil-like material that defied conventional identification. Initial reports from the military indicated that they had recovered a flying disc, igniting a firestorm of speculation about extraterrestrial visitation. However, within hours, the narrative shifted dramatically. The military issued a statement claiming the recovered debris was from a weather balloon, a Project Mogul balloon specifically used to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. The abrupt reversal fueled suspicions of a cover-up. Eyewitnesses emerged with conflicting accounts, some claiming to have seen alien bodies among the wreckage. The military's handling of the incident, characterized by secrecy and contradictory statements, only deepened the mystery. For years, the Roswell incident languished in obscurity, relegated to the realm of fringe speculation. However, in the late 1970s, renewed interest in UFO phenomena thrust Roswell back into the spotlight. Investigators, journalists, and UFO enthusiasts descended upon the small New Mexican town, determined to unravel the truth. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report concluding that the wreckage recovered in 1947 was indeed from a top-secret balloon project. Dubbed Project Mogul, the balloons were designed to detect sound waves from Soviet atomic bomb tests, a plausible explanation for the debris described by witnesses. Despite the Air Force's explanation, many remain unconvinced. Skeptics point to inconsistencies in the official account and discrepancies in witness testimony. Conspiracy theories abound, alleging everything from alien spacecraft to government experimentation gone awry. The Roswell incident continues to fascinate and divide, emblematic of humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. Whether it was a genuine encounter with extraterrestrial visitors or a case of misidentification and government secrecy, Roswell remains a symbol of our quest for answers in a universe teeming with mysteries. 2. Washington, D.C. UFO Incident, 1952. In the summer of 1952, the nation's capital became the focal point of one of the most compelling UFO sightings in American history, the Washington, D.C. UFO Incident. Over 2 consecutive weekends in July, radar operators, pilots, and civilians observed a series of unidentified flying objects maneuvering over the skies of Washington, D.C. The events captured the attention of the public, the media, and even the highest echelons of government. The first significant sighting occurred on the night of July 19, 1952, when air traffic controllers at Washington National Airport detected several unidentified targets on their radar screens. These objects appeared to be flying in erratic patterns, defying the known capabilities of conventional aircraft. Fighter jets were scrambled to intercept the mysterious intruders, but they reported seeing nothing unusual despite radar confirmation. Over the following weekend, the sightings continued, with multiple witnesses corroborating the presence of unidentified objects in the night sky. Civilian observers, including airline pilots and passengers, reported seeing bright lights performing maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The objects were described as glowing orbs or lights, moving with remarkable speed and agility. The Washington, D.C. UFO incident reached a climax on the night of July 26, 1952, when radar installations at both Washington National Airport and Andrews Air Force Base again detected unidentified targets. This time, the objects appeared to converge over the Capitol building before dispersing and disappearing from radar. The sightings prompted widespread media coverage and public concern, with headlines blaring about flying saucers and mystery in the skies. Decades later, the Washington, D.C. UFO incident remains a subject of debate and speculation, with some still searching for answers in the night skies over the nation's capital. Questions lingered about the precise nature of the objects observed and the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement. 3. Phoenix Lights, 1997. The Phoenix Lights event remains one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in modern history. On the evening of March 13, 1997, thousands of witnesses reported seeing a series of unusual lights hovering over the skies of Arizona, particularly in the Phoenix metropolitan area. The event captured the attention of the public and sparked intense speculation about the nature of the phenomenon. The first sightings occurred at around 7:30 p.m., when witnesses reported seeing a formation of lights moving silently across the sky. The lights appeared to be arranged in a V-shape and spanned a considerable distance. Eyewitnesses described the lights as large, bright, and stationary, with some reporting that they seemed to be connected to a massive dark object. As news of the sighting spread, more reports poured in from different locations across Arizona. Some witnesses claimed to have seen the lights up close, describing them as distinct orbs or spheres hovering in the sky. Others reported seeing a distinct outline of a massive triangular-shaped craft blocking out the stars as it passed overhead. The official response to the Phoenix Lights incident was initially dismissive, with authorities attributing the sightings to flares dropped during a military training exercise. However, this explanation did not satisfy many eyewitnesses, who insisted that the lights they saw were unlike anything they had ever seen before. Furthermore, the military's assertion that the lights were caused by flares contradicted the accounts of witnesses who claimed to have seen a massive solid object in the sky. In the years following the incident, investigations into the Phoenix Lights have yielded conflicting conclusions. Some researchers have argued that the lights were indeed caused by military flares or other conventional explanations, while others maintain that the sightings remain unexplained and possibly extraterrestrial in nature. As former Arizona Governor Fife Symington III said, "I can definitively say that this craft did not resemble any man-made object I'd ever seen, and it was certainly not high-altitude flares, because flares don't fly in formation." One of the most enduring aspects of the Phoenix Lights incident is the sheer number of witnesses who came forward to report their experiences. Estimates suggest that thousands of people saw the lights that night, including pilots, police officers, and ordinary citizens. The credibility of many of these witnesses, coupled with the lack of a definitive explanation for the phenomenon, has fueled ongoing interest in the case. However, despite eyewitness reports and photographic evidence, the phenomenon was never properly explained. 4. Westall UFO Incident, 1966. The Westall UFO incident is one of Australia's most famous UFO sightings. It occurred on April 6, 1966, in Westall, a suburb of Melbourne. Witnesses reported seeing a saucer-shaped object hovering above the Grange Reserve, an open area near two schools, Westall High School and Westall State School. The incident began when students and teachers at the schools observed a silver-gray saucer-shaped object flying low over the area. Some witnesses claimed to have seen multiple objects. The UFO was described as being around the size of a car or small plane and was reported to have moved silently and with incredible speed. As the object descended, it apparently landed in a nearby paddock, where witnesses reported seeing it for a short period before it suddenly took off and disappeared. Despite official investigations, the incident remains unexplained. 5. Rendlesham Forest Incident, 1980. Often referred to as Britain's Roswell, the Rendlesham Forest Incident is one of the world's most sensational and compelling series of UFO encounters. It occurred in December 1980, near RAF Woodbridge, a Royal Air Force base in Suffolk, England. The incident began on December 26, 1980, when multiple United States Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge reported seeing strange lights in the nearby Rendlesham Forest. Initially, it was believed to be a downed aircraft, but upon investigation, no wreckage was found. The following night, on December 27th, more sightings occurred. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt led a small team into the forest to investigate. They encountered a series of strange lights and observed a metallic triangular object with colored lights hovering above the ground. During the encounter, strange phenomena were reported, including the malfunction of electronic equipment, radio interference, and radiation readings. Lieutenant Colonel Halt recorded his observations on an audio tape, which captured his reactions to the events as they unfolded. Despite extensive investigations by both military and civilian authorities, no conclusive explanation for the Rendlesham Forest incident has ever been provided. The British Ministry of Defence initially downplayed the incident, attributing it to a combination of misinterpretation of natural phenomena, such as stars or lighthouses, and the presence of a nearby lighthouse at Orford Ness. However, many witnesses and researchers believe that the Rendlesham Forest incident involved a genuine encounter with an unidentified flying object. The incident has sparked intense debate and speculation within the UFO community and has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and investigations over the years. 6. Tehran UFO Incident, 1976. In 1976, Iran experienced a series of UFO sightings that culminated in a dramatic encounter over Tehran, the capital city. On September 19, 1976, shortly after midnight, reports started coming into the Mehrabad airport in Tehran, Iran, about an unidentified flying object in the sky. General Yousefi, the commander of the Iranian Air Force at the time, dispatched an F-4 Phantom II jet to investigate the reports. The pilot, Captain Mohammad Reza Azizkhani, reported seeing a bright object in the sky that emitted a series of flashing lights. When he attempted to approach the object, his aircraft's instruments malfunctioned, and he lost communication with ground control. Another F-4 was dispatched to continue the pursuit, piloted by Lieutenant Parviz Jafari. Jafari also witnessed the strange object, which appeared to be capable of rapid acceleration and movement. As he attempted to engage the UFO, his aircraft experienced similar electrical malfunctions, including the failure of his weapon systems. The incident was also observed by ground personnel and confirmed by radar operators. The object was tracked on radar, and its movements were erratic and highly unusual. Eventually, the UFO left the area, and communications were restored. The Tehran UFO incident garnered significant attention internationally and remains one of the most compelling cases in UFO lore due to the multiple witnesses, including trained military personnel, and the corroboration provided by radar data. Despite extensive investigation, no conventional explanation has been offered to fully account for the events of that night, leading many to speculate about extraterrestrial involvement. 7. Belgian UFO Wave, 1989 to 1990. The Belgian UFO wave refers to a series of sightings of UFOs that occurred in Belgium between 1989 and 1990. This wave of sightings gained significant attention both nationally and internationally due to the number of witnesses and the credibility of many of those witnesses, including police officers and military personnel. One of the most famous incidents during this wave occurred on the night of March 30th, 1990, when new sightings of multiple objects were reported, confirmed by two military ground radar stations. Two F-16 fighter jets were sent out to investigate the anomalies, and though the pilots could not see anything visually, they were able to lock onto their targets with radar. But the UFOs moved so fast that the pilots ended up losing them. Some 13,500 people are estimated to have witnessed the incident, making it one of the most widely experienced UFO sightings of the modern era. The Belgian military became involved in investigating the sightings, leading to the formation of a special task force called SOBPS. Despite extensive investigations, including radar tracking and F-16 fighter jet pursuits, the Belgian objects have still never been explained. 8. The O'Hare International Airport Craft, 2006. The unique thing about this sighting is that it wasn't just seen by a passerby on the ground or by someone driving along the road. The sighting was actually reported by an employee of United Airlines who was standing on the tarmac of the airport. Not only did it come from a highly reputable source, but it was witnessed from a location that's not random. Not a backyard or the deep woods somewhere, or even a deserted highway, which is where many sightings had come from prior to this. The other interesting facet to this encounter is that the sighting was actually reported by more than one person, including a total of 12 employees who worked for United Airlines at the time, along with the story being corroborated by several witnesses from outside the airport staff. According to witness reports, a dark gray saucer appeared to hover over gate C-17 and hung around for at least 5 minutes, which is also a fairly long time when talking about an encounter this close and personal. On November 7, 2006, witnesses say that shortly after 4:15 p.m., the saucer-shaped object shot straight up into the sky with enough force to break apart the cloud cover above it. Interestingly enough, the craft was never picked up on the FAA radar, which meant that an investigation was not required, and it never happened, with the FAA referred to it as a weather phenomenon. But the applied physics team is not so sure. They noted that the 2006 Chicago O'Hare UFO, much like decades of classic UFOs, was a traditional, iconic flat flying saucer. Witnesses described the completely silent object as somewhere between 22 to 88 feet in diameter, a size that may pose further energy benefits worthy of future study, the group suspects. However, the lack of concrete evidence limits their ability to draw conclusions. Plus, given that no known humans have ever gotten close to manufacturing an Alcubierre warp drive ourselves, such a conclusion would raise many more questions than it would answer. 9. Valensole UFO Incident, 1965. The Valensole UFO incident occurred in July 1965 in Valensole, France, when farmer Maurice Masse claimed to encounter an object came out of the sky and landed in a lavender field 200 feet away. Annoyed and assuming that a helicopter had made an unauthorized landing, he walked toward it. However, he soon saw it was no helicopter, but an oval-shaped structure resting on 4 legs. In front of it stood 2 figures, not quite 4 feet tall, dressed in tight gray-green clothes. Their heads were oversized and with sharp chins. Their eyes were large and slanted, and they were making a grumbling noise. One of the beings pointed a pencil-like device at Masse, paralyzing him in his tracks. The figures entered the UFO and flew away, and the witness needed 20 minutes to recover his mobility. In its wake, the object left a deep hole and a moist area that soon hardened like concrete. Plants in the vicinity decayed, and analysis found a higher amount of calcium at the landing site than elsewhere. The Valensole case is considered one of the classic UFO reports. Investigations by official and civilian agencies confirmed Masse's sincerity and good character, Laboratory study of the affected soil and plants confirmed the occurrence of an unusual event. Subsequently, Massey confided that in the course of the encounter, he experienced some sort of communication with the entities. Ufologists consider Massey's claims significant and cite landing gear impressions found in the soil. 10. Kecksburg UFO Incident, 1965. The evening of December 9, 1965, left an unusual imprint on the memories of many residents of southwestern Pennsylvania. A little before 5 p.m. Eastern Time, a raging fireball was reportedly seen falling from the sky before finally crash landing in the woods near the small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, about a 45-minute drive from Pittsburgh. Eyewitnesses said they felt vibrations and a loud thump around the time of the crash, and the fireball was seen by people across 6 states and even as far away as Canada. But what exactly was this unusual, unknown flying object that crashed in Kecksburg? When locals visited the crash site, they discovered an unusual bell-shaped craft without wings or any recognizable propulsion system. The bronze-colored structure resembled an acorn, and it was estimated to be around 15 feet long, or about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Adding to the bizarre occurrence, the Kecksburg UFO featured a design reminiscent of Egyptian-like hieroglyphs engraved along the outside of the craft. Within hours, military personnel arrived at the UFO crash site to confiscate the wreckage. Local newspapers reported that the area around the crash was immediately sealed off by order of the U.S. Army and Pennsylvania State Police. In fact, according to a story in the Tribune Review, police officials ordered the area roped off to await the expected arrival of both U.S. Army engineers and possibly civilian scientists. It didn't take long for the military officials to load the bell-shaped craft onto their trucks, cover everything with tarps, and haul away the last remnants of the crash. Official explanations have varied from a meteor to a crashed Soviet satellite, but many believe it was something more mysterious. Even after years of work trying to unravel the Kecksburg incident, what took place there is an unanswered question. These top 10 UFO sightings represent just a fraction of the countless reports documented throughout history. According to the director of the office established to investigate the incidents, the U.S. government is receiving dozens of reports of UFOs each month, with the potential for hundreds, if not thousands, more reports expected in the near future. Dr. Gary Nolan, a well-known immunologist and professor at Stanford University and a Nobel Prize nominee, even made a bold claim at a recent conference in Manhattan, claiming that there is an absolute certainty, a 100%, that extraterrestrial life forms have visited Earth in the past and continue to be present on our planet today. Nolan linked prospective contacts with aliens to the first glimpses of Spanish ships by South American tribes, implying that humanity may have previously encountered these species without realizing their true nature, as reported by the Daily Mail. He believes that rather than mingling among us disguised as humans, these intelligent life forms will most likely use intermediaries or some sophisticated kind of intelligence. However, the Stanford professor emphasized that he had no fears about aliens constituting a threat to humans. He disregarded the concepts of extraterrestrial invasions or abductions, emphasizing that his focus is on discovering how humans may profit from any alien technology that may have been left behind on Earth. Nolan also reported his engagement with the CIA, where he used his immunology skills to research medical difficulties supposedly caused by contact with mysterious aerial phenomena. He emphasized the striking similarities between the symptoms displayed by these patients and the ailment known as Havana syndrome, which was originally identified in Cuba in 2016 and affected numerous U.S. officials and military personnel. Furthermore, Nolan claims to have been involved in CIA research projects involving the investigation of items reportedly collected at areas where UFOs had been spotted. He claims to have had touch with people who have worked or are now working on clandestine programs aimed at reverse engineering UFO technology. Nolan and attorney Daniel Sheehan reported that other whistleblowers, maybe as many as 6, recently spoke with the U.S. Congress. These people claim to have been involved in programs similar to the Roswell event, which involved the recovery of crashed UFOs and subsequent efforts to study and reproduce their sophisticated technology. In response to the increased interest in UFO-related issues, President Joe Biden signed legislation last year requiring the Pentagon to send confidential reports to high-ranking senators on any undisclosed UFO programs. Congress also passed laws to protect whistleblowers who had taken part in similar programs. However, Sean Kirkpatrick, the chief of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, said last month during a Senate hearing that there is currently no clear proof of alien life. In short, while skeptics often provide rational explanations, the allure of the unknown continues to fuel speculation and intrigue surrounding the possibility of extraterrestrial visitation. Whether these sightings have earthly origins or hint at something beyond our understanding, they remind us of the vast mysteries that still exist in our universe. That's all the information that we have for you today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss out on future episodes. And be sure to also tell us what you think about today's content. Everyone's support motivates us to continue delivering quality content and to always improve. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.